All right, so 10 years of training, I am going to explain exactly why most men will never be lean. This is in the body game series. It will be in the body game playlist. Now, surprisingly, the reason is not genetics. The reason is not that you have a family. There was the other video I made, there was a bunch of pussies that were like, oh my God, like I have kids and this is that. Do your kids dictate what you eat or do you dictate what you eat? That's where majority of results come from. All right, so if you're not eating what you need to, that's why you're not lean. So the reality is a lot of men, right, they want to be lean. Let's be honest, we all, when we play video games, we pick the lean character. When we see Troy, we get inspired, right? Even when I work out, generally people will ask me questions or they'll be like, hey, I want to be as lean as you. How do I get as lean as you? Things like that. We all aspire to be lean. It's in our nature. It's healthier to be lean than it is to be overweight. I know a lot of you guys say, oh, it's not healthy to be lean. It's not sustainable. Yes, it is. You just don't have the discipline. All right. So after 10 years of training, a lot of different men, different goals, different, backgrounds, different obstacles. I literally was journaling this shit today, like just thinking about this shit because I kept getting DMs about like, man, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with that, and I was like, why aren't like? And I be telling you guys on YouTube. Chris Jones tells you guys on YouTube. Everyone knows it's calorie deficit. So I'm just like, why isn't everybody lean, right? Why isn't people who want to be lean? So number one is definitely going to be excuses, right? Obviously, you make excuses or you make progress. So the most common excuses I see is people saying my metabolism is too slow, which generally is not an issue. All right. It's generally not an issue with most people. They're just overeating and not tracking, right? Because if you're tracking, you would realize, I'm eating way too much. It's not my actual metabolism. Another thing is as you build muscle, it'll be easier to eat more because your metabolism will be faster because when you have more muscle, your metabolism will be faster overall. All right. Very, very simple. And a lot of people will always say, oh my God, I don't have time, but they're caught up on all football games. They know the latest drama on Love Island and shit. Like grown men be watching Love Island, yes, right? They watch all the football games. They're caught up on Netflix shows, right? They put in hours of video games a week and they say they don't have time. They're just not allocating time to what they need and what they prioritize because that's what it comes down to. Whatever you prioritize, you'll always make time for. We all know our friend we had back in high school or college. I remember there was a dude in college, man, and he prioritized smoking weed, right? So he never had time and he never had money, right? He used to try to shoplift at Walmart, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing, bro? I'll just buy that shit for you, right? He used to try to shoplift all the time. But when it came to weed, right, when someone's like, hey, yo, I got an eighth, he always had cash. He would just pull it out of nowhere because that's what he prioritized, all right? That's how a lot of you guys are. You guys prioritize your fast food meals. You prioritize, the OF that you guys be buying and shit like that. You guys prioritize the wrong things. You don't prioritize fitness and you don't prioritize what you eat. You want to enjoy what you eat. So you make a U-turn. You drive 30 minutes out the way to get in the Chick-fil-A line. So you do have time. You're just allocating it into the wrong spot. Another thing is you don't have to work out 2 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is not necessary. All right. In reality, getting lean, majority of it is nutrition. All right. So don't use time as an excuse because if anything, it should be easier to eat in a calorie deficit because it takes less time than it does to eat in a surplus because surplus is way more food. All right. Very, very simple. And those same people who say they don't have time, they're all scrolling TikTok, commenting and being like, it's funny because if you make a video about like, lacking time on TikTok, someone will take time because they spend a lot of time scrolling on TikTok and they'll spend time, putting some negative comments and shit like that because they're always scrolling TikTok, always scrolling YouTube, right? They're not doing what they need to do. They're not allocating the time. They're not even tracking their time. They don't know what they're doing with their time. So generally, if you don't track your time, you don't know what you're doing with your time, it's going to feel like you have none. But once you actually start to realize that, oh shit, I'm just sitting down for 3 hours scrolling. Like how many people sit down for 3 hours and just scroll TikTok because they thought they were going to watch one video and then your For You page just gives you a bunch of dopamine hits so you watch 3 hours worth. A lot of people do that shit. You could have been meal prepping. You could have been, figuring out what your calorie deficit is. You could have been going to the gym, but you guys just sit there and scroll. A lot of people do that shit, right? And then not a lot of people, another excuse I'll see is people saying they have bad genetics. Most people don't have genetics as bad as mine. All right, you guys seen where I started. All right, simple. You guys seen where I started, but guess what? I put in the work. Simple shit. All right, I was skinny like a lot of people were, and then if I gain fat, it's usually in the stomach area, right? So a lot of people deal with that issue and they're like, oh my God, like my genetics suck. It's like you never really put in the work. And then a lot of people will hop on gear and be like, I need gear because my genetics aren't good, but they never maximize their potential. They never track all the food that they ate. They never stayed consistently in a calorie deficit if they're trying to lose fat. They never stayed consistently in a lean bulk if they're trying to gain muscle. They've never done that before. They've never tracked all their weights. They've never progressively overloaded. And yet they're saying, oh my God, like I really have bad genetics. Like, no, you don't. Most people have great genetics. I can see it after training for so long. I can see the genetic potential. Like I'll see some people and they'll be, even though they're like 25% body fat, they think that they're like, dang, bro, like I wish I could look like you. And I'm just looking at them and like, the fuck are you talking about, bro? I don't have like, if they cut down to my body fat percentage, I don't have a chance. That's just with most people. I don't have a chance. It's not even close. They're just gonna blow me out the water, right? Because they have weight, like their shoulders are bigger, they have more lats, they just have more mass, right? But they never cut down, so they're never gonna see that, right? Because they don't have the discipline. That's the reality, all right? A lot of people lie to themselves because it makes them feel better. But listen, excuses are not going to get you anywhere. All right. Simple, simple, simple. All right. And another thing I see is no discipline. The discipline shit is crazy. Like this journey is all about discipline. So when you don't want to go to the gym, right, which is fine. It's fine. You don't want to go to the gym, you still fucking go. Because a lot of men, when they don't want to go to work, they go to work. They still show up. If they don't want to show up for their family, they still show up for their family because they got to. But they won't show up for themselves. It's the craziest shit of all time. You have to show up to the gym when you want to show up to the gym. Right? You're not gonna go from 30% body fat to 10% body fat in 1 month, in 2 months, in 3 months. It's gonna take consistency, day in and day out, showing up no matter what, no matter how you feel. Stop letting your emotions dictate your actions. All right, that's very feminine behavior, and a lot of men struggle with that. They feel bad one day, they have a headache one day, they're feeling sad one day, so they skip the gym altogether. And you have to have your non-negotiables when you're getting lean, and the gym is obviously one of them. So you can't be doing that shit. Very, very simple. Another thing I see is people wanting abs, you know, when they've been eating like shit for 6 years. And they're like, all right, bet, I'm going to put in 4 weeks, man. And I should see my abs. You have to realize it's going to take time. It is a body fat percentage thing. It is a body fat percentage thing. You can lose 20 pounds in a month. You can't lose 20% body fat in a month. It's not happening. It's literally impossible. Unless you're 120% body fat, which nobody is because you can only go up to 100. You see what I'm saying? You can't lose 20% body fat in a month. All right. It's just literally impossible. You can't do that unless you get liposuction and you're 100% body fat. Can't lose 20% body fat in a month. So if you want to see your abs, guess what? You just got to be a body fat percentage. Usually 15 or below, closer to 12 if you have low muscle mass. So in order to go from 20 to 12, it's going to take time. All right, it is. You're going to have to lock in your mindset. You're going to have to change your mindset. And you're going to have to slowly chip away at the fat that you gained over the years. Now, in reality, it might have taken you 6 years to gain 60 pounds of fat, but you can lose that 60 pounds of fat in 6 to 9 months, which is literally 1/10 of the time. So that's, or 1/6 of the time. So that's really, really good. All right. So you got to realize that. Another thing I see is like a lot of men don't have pain tolerance. Now, a lot of this comes from, because everyone didn't play sports, obviously, but generally if you play sports or you were in the army or something, you have some kind of pain tolerance and you're comfortable pushing yourself to the next level. Right. But I've noticed that a lot of dudes, especially like a lot of the Gen Z dudes, they just don't have any pain tolerance, like any hint of discomfort. And they're like, oh my God, mommy, I'm hungry. And then they just go and overeat and shit like that, right? Because they've been coddled all their life, right? And when they got 8th place, when they got last place, they still got a trophy. So that's how they think, right? Like I said, man, I mean, there's one dude said he wanted to get lean and he was like, yeah, I'm ready. Soon as the volume was too high for him, he's like, I can't do this, it's too hard. I'm like, bro, this is literally the most basic shit. Like what I was giving him personally was probably the most basic workout of all time. Like it was low volume. I was going to increase his volume over time because he said he wanted to get shredded. Obviously, he said he really wanted to work on his back and get shredded. If you want to get shredded, if you want to work on your back, guess what? You obviously have to hit it from every angle. But he was like, oh my God, it hurts too bad. I can't do it anymore. So he literally quit on himself. And a lot of guys do that, especially the younger guys, because they just don't have any pain tolerance at all. Same thing with hunger pains, right? Discomfort. A lot of guys are so scared of discomfort. Like literally hunger pains is probably what holds so many people back from being lean. Just hunger pains. That's it. So like a lot of people will have some hunger pains and they'll be like, dude, like I had to eat because I was hungry. I was like, no, you weren't actually hungry. Like you have 40% body fat. You clearly don't need any more. Your body was just signaling that you're eating less than usual, right? That's what a hunger pain is. It's not that you're actually hungry. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of people don't realize that. And then guess what? They overeat. So if you're 40% body fat, if you're not like 5% body fat, then you don't need the food that the hunger pain is saying you need. It just means you're eating less than usual. It's like when you're watching Netflix and it's like, are you still watching? It's just curious if you're still watching. Simple shit. All right. Another thing is, like I said, man, a lot of modern men are just weak, man. Like you drink alcohol, you're like, man, I need alcohol. Or you just, you watch the hub, or you play video games or you eat junk food to get your dopamine hit, instead of facing head on what is actually causing stress and facing head on what you actually want to be, right? So a lot of modern men are just NPCs. I'll make a whole video about that, but a lot of modern men are just NPCs. They're not willing to lock in and do what they need to do to get to where they need to get to. They're just so focused on just watching others do it and then making excuses, when it's like, in reality, you can take control of your life whenever you want to. All right, simple. And as far as like the physique shit, it's so funny because so many people say stuff like, man, I want to be lean, man, I want to be lean. And their actions literally show the opposite. At the end of the day, actions are more important than words. But so many people, they literally continually say, man, I want to be lean, man, I want to be lean, man. They just keep saying it. And it's like they don't do anything to be lean. They want the body without the price. All right. They want the results without putting the work. And that's what they want. They don't like the process and shit. They don't want to do that shit. They don't want to have one hunger pain. They don't want to lift when they're hungry. They don't want to go through any pain, any discomfort at all. And I've seen that time and time again, right? That's usually that's what makes people quit, because they'll get in the journey. The first 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, they have motivation, so it's fine. I haven't seen anyone struggle in like weeks 2 to 4. That's usually motivation weeks. Once that motivation runs out, it's like you have to really embody this identity, right? Like no one's looking and you still have to eat within the calorie deficit. Like when I turn this camera off, someone, I'm going to eat what I need to eat. But when you log off, are you going to eat what you need to eat? That's what it comes down to. When nobody's looking and it's a Tuesday night and, you had a late day at work, you're kind of hungry, you're craving some cheesecake or cookie cake, whatever you like, it's going to be up to you whether you do it or not. All right. And that's what the journey comes down to. It's confiding in yourself, being able to trust in yourself. That's what self-discipline is all about. And most people, that situation I just gave you, most people, they'll fold every time. They'll DoorDash. They'll get the cookie cake. They'll get that. I think Chili's got like a cookie cake. They'll get that Chili's cookie cake. You feel me? That's what they'll do. All right. And as far as intensity, like that's also, I'm not gonna say that's like pain, but like intensity is important in the gym, obviously. And most people are okay being intense in the gym when they're eating 3,000 calories before their session, right? But if they're doing a fasted session or they have 2,500 calories for the whole day, they're like, oh my God, that's not enough calories. It's like, dude, that's more than enough. You really don't need as much food as you think you do, right? Because I'll work out fasted or I'll work out with a small snack before, and I'll just do what I need to do because your body's capable of doing it. But most people are like, oh my God, like there was actually this one guy, and I'm like, yo, like you've been telling me you want to be lean for a long time, because he used to go to the gym I used to go to all the time. I was like, man, you lift heavy, you do good with the weights, you're consistent, but like, I know you said you wanted to be lean, like what's going on? He's like, yeah, man, there's no way, man. And by the way, it was 2 p.m. He was like, there's no way I can eat less than like, I already ate 2,000 calories today. I mean, there's no way I could eat less than that before the gym. And I'm like, that's my whole day of calories when I'm cutting, bro. So a lot of people are just, it's not even, besides discipline, it's just addiction to food. Like they're just addicted to food, right? They don't want any discomfort at all. And if you don't want discomfort, you're not going to be, no one's going to remember your name type shit. Like in Troy, I don't know if you guys remember this clip in Troy, but, he wakes up, he wakes up next to 2 chicks or whatever. And then a little boy, like, is like, Agamemnon needs you or something like that. So then he gets on his horse, and then the boy is like, why are you going there? It's scary. I would never do that, or something like that. He said, I would never fight that big guy. That's scary. And then Troy said, that's why no one, or Achilles said, that's why no one will ever remember your name. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what it's like when you guys are saying you want to be lean, but you don't want any discomfort. That's why you're not going to inspire anybody ever, right? You're not even inspiring yourself. You look in the mirror, you see 25% body fat because you like comfort. That's what I see. When I see someone with 25% body fat, they like comfort. That's what they like, all right? And in reality, what actually works and what actually gets people lean is people who take full accountability, people who track everything. No, you're not tracking your carbs and your fats. Carbs and protein. You're tracking carbs, fats, protein, any condiments, any snacks, any drinks that's not water. You're tracking literally everything. You're not fucking around. You see what I'm saying? A lot of you guys, you track some stuff, and then you might have some liquor on the weekend. You might have a snack here or there. You might have a snack at work. So your friend at work might give you like a cookie or something like that. You don't track it. That's extra 200 calories. You had an extra handful of nuts. That's extra 200 calories, right? You drank a Capri Sun or something because your kid had one. That's extra 90 calories. So now you're out of your deficit. And then you're wondering why you're not losing fat. You have to track literally everything, weigh everything, be precise. Precision is key. It might sound obsessive to you, but that's what it takes to get to the next level, right? You can't do basic shit and expect to get to the next level. A lot of you guys do average people shit, and for some reason you just want to get lucky and be chosen and be above average. It's like you're doing average people shit. you're not going to be above average doing average people shit, right? Simple shit, man. And another thing is playing the long game with really making sure that you're realizing that your goal is quality over quantity. Your goal is losing fat, not losing muscle. You don't want to lose any muscle. So losing weight usually includes some muscle, but your goal is to lose fat, right? You want to lose fat, and you realize that it's a long-term thing, like I said. But in reality, people are really impatient because, like I said earlier, generally the people that I've dealt with, they've been like, yeah, the past 10 years or the past 15 years or the past 20 years. That's usually the time periods of fat gain that people have, right? Between 10 to 20. And the range that they gain is usually between 60 and 100, right? Which is very, very slow and steady fat gain, right? So in order to lose that amount of fat, like if someone took 10 years to gain 60 pounds of fat, they can lose that shit in 6 to 9 months, which would be 1/10 of the time, which is really, really, that doesn't require a lot of patience, to be honest. That's like 1/10 of the time. That's easy. It's literally easy as hell. Like people just lack perspective, to be honest, right? And another thing is like people think that like it's impossible, or they don't really build the identity that they need to, because when you change your identity, you're always gonna do what you need to do. Like if you're like, okay, I'm the leanest version of myself, guess what you're gonna eat? Lean foods. Guess what you're gonna avoid? Goofy foods. Guess what that's gonna mean? You're gonna get lean, right? Like it's that simple. And like I said, a lot of people think it's a challenge and it's like, oh, it's impossible. If you tell yourself something's not possible, you're not gonna get it done. Period. Right? But notice how in this I barely talked about lifting weights, because that's not what most people struggle with. All right. Like I said, some people have a decent amount of mass, they just don't eat what they need to eat because they don't have the discipline. Literally, majority of the fitness journey is mindset and nutrition. Right? Once you master those, you're good to go. It's simple. All right. Like the lifting weight shit, that doesn't really do much. Like when I used to do in-person training, I'm not really doing anything. I'm helping people lift weights and then they go eat like shit, because I can't give them meal plans according to the gym. I can't change their mindset because I only have 1 hour with them, right? And I'm just helping them lift weights, getting through a session. Like getting through an intense session, the best case scenario, you lose 2 pounds of water weight, but then you go home and you eat McDonald's. Back to square one. You didn't change your mindset, so you're not going to really get anywhere. You see what I'm saying? With like online coaching, I've been able to actually help people change their actual mindsets, because they're listening to me say the same shit every day, and it's annoying the shit out of them, to the point where they're like, fuck, man, like they're about to make a mistake. I even had a couple of clients. They're like, yo, I was about to they're like, yo, I was about to eat something, and then I heard your voice in my head like, don't eat that goofy shit. And that's what it took, right? And that's just shit that you're not getting with in-person coaching. All right, but anyways, stay locked in. If you don't want to be like 95% of dudes, then actually track what you eat and take that shit seriously.